So for this video, we're going to go through the second window, which is the tier holdings under the tier transactional data for Alberta. So starting on the left top here, so this is essentially all of the offsets and EPCs broken down by the different operators. So you can think of this as almost the book for the different participants in the market, right? Like this tells you where they're sitting in terms of the offsets and the EPCs. As an example, if you want to know who held the largest position of offsets in the market, you could come here and basically select into that to tell you that Capital Power, as an example, is the largest holders of the offset. So if you're in a position to buy offsets and you're trying to get a hold of a counterpart, you know who to go to talk to about those transactions. On the right side here is the EPCs broken down by the different vintages, and also the offsets broken down by different vintages. So as you can see, the 2015 in the EPC vintage is very illiquid compared to, let's say, the 2019 EPC vintage, which is extremely liquid. So, and the reason for that, as you know, is the 2015 is coming up to that retirement timeframe. And a similar story you can tell is also on the offset side, where the 2020 is probably the most liquid compared to the 2015 and the 2016, which are pretty close. So this gives you an idea where the which vintage is sitting at the most with the most liquidity. The scoreboard up top here echoes a similar message in terms of the liquidity, but then also highlights the number of protocols that are in the cycle and also breaks down the number of offset and EPC holders. The right bottom here, now this takes it down another level to break down offsets by the different protocols. As you saw earlier, there are 27 protocols in the cycle, and this table breaks those protocols down by the different vintage years and also by the volume. So as an example, in this graph, you could see that the 2020 is the most liquid. So if you come down to the 2020, this shows you which protocols within the 2020 vintage year hold the most liquidity, which, for example, here is the greenhouse gas emission reduction by mnemonic devices, followed by the CO2 capture and storage in deep saline aquifers, and then also the wind power electricity generator. So you can tell that these three are the most sought after protocol in the offset credit space, compared to, let's say, for example, the energy efficiency for commercial and institutional buildings in 2020, which is sitting at a very low liquidity. On the left side here, this is a pie chart of the protocols. However, this is not breaking it down by year, but this is combining all of them together to show you what projects have been or which protocols have been consistent over all of the vintages in terms of market share. So as we saw earlier, in 2020, which is the most liquid year right now, the greenhouse gas reductions from mnemonic devices is sitting at the most liquidity. However, that's not been the case historically, right? And this tells you that story because historically, the CO2 capture and storage in deep saline aquifers protocol and the credits coming out of that has been the most liquid compared to the reductions from mnemonic devices. And you can see those across the board from like 2016 all the way up to 2021 here.